Welcome to the Rocky Mountain Association for College Admission Counseling Virtual College Fair. Thank you for joining us. A few announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to sign up for more. The presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at strivescan.com/RMACAC. And now I'd like to turn it over to our presenters. And first up is Brandeis University.
All right. Hello, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us today. My name is Jessica Schulman. I work in the admissions office at Brandeis University, and I am the rep for Colorado and Wyoming. So feel free to reach out if you have additional questions. A little bit of brief history about Brandeis, I think, is really important to note when kind of choosing between colleges. We have a really interesting founding. We were founded in 1948. We're actually a really young institution, but we were founded at a time where a lot of elite colleges and universities in the United States used a quota system to admit their students. So they would admit X amount of students from this race or ethnicity, X amount of students from this religion, X amount of men, X amount of women, and that's how they would fill their incoming classes. One group that was being discriminated against in that quota system was the American Jewish community. So the American Jewish community came together to create Brandeis as a response to those quotas, so that all students would get in based on their own academic merit and not based on their religion or color of their skin or if they were male or female or anything like that. So you'll see a lot of themes of inclusion, diversity, equality really woven into the Brandeis experience, both academically but also socially. We are a non-sectarian university. We do not have any religious component. We are not a Jewish institution. We welcome students from all different types of backgrounds, and just a little bit of a caveat there, but we do owe our founding to the Jewish community. A couple of things that are important to note about Brandeis. One, we are just outside of Boston, Massachusetts, just 9 miles. So you have access to a major hub of higher education during the academic year. 1 in 4 people in the city of Boston is a full-time undergraduate student in non-pandemic times, of course. But you have your own suburban campus with really easy access into the city. We are the second smallest research university in the United States. What that means is that a lot of our funding and resources go towards research, whether that's the hard sciences, social sciences, humanities, fine arts, every major needs research, right? Of the tier 1 research universities in the United States, the average size of those schools is 26,000 undergraduate students. Brandeis is only 3,600 undergraduates. So you have the funding and resources of a big school at the size of a little bit larger than a traditional liberal arts college. You kind of get the best of both worlds. You're not having to compete against hundreds of other undergraduates or graduate students for that matter. You have access to our professors, our labs, our centers, our institutes on campus to conduct original research. There's also a really big emphasis on social justice on our campus. Because of our founding, a lot of students connect with that mission. You'll find that students choose Brandeis because it's this really incredible platform for launching initiatives. If you want to advocate for something, change something, fix something in the world, whether that's advocating for LGBTQ rights or environmental sustainability or finding a cure for something or working with refugees, whatever your passion or cause is, you'll find that Brandeis is really committed to pursuing social justice, not through just our social policy majors, but our music majors, our math majors. People are looking at social justice with a really critical lens, and you see that woven throughout the entire campus. Our core curriculum is incredibly flexible in nature. There's no required classes. Some of the highlights of our core curriculum, in my opinion, include a difference in justice in the world component, as well as a health, wellness, and life skills component. So instead of PE, we are asking you to take things like first aid and CPR, stress management, financial literacy, things that might be a little bit more applicable for when you graduate college and need to be a functioning adult in the real world. Over half of our students at Brandeis double major. You are not required to double major by any standard, but you'll find that Brandeis is incredibly flexible in our curriculum. Our classes are incredibly interdisciplinary in nature. There's a lot of cross-listing between different majors. You'll find that some students have things that pair really nicely together. Maybe you like business and economics. Maybe you like neuroscience and psychology. That's great. You will also find students at Brandeis who double major with things on polar opposite ends of the academic spectrum. Maybe you like chemistry and theater, and that's great. Brandeis is a wonderful place to pursue those. In terms of student life and what's happening on campus, you are guaranteed 2 years of housing. However, 80% of our students do reside on campus for all 4 years of their time at Brandeis. Over 200 different student clubs and organizations, ranging from business and academic-based groups to media and publications, to spiritual and affinity groups, to completely random ones. My personal favorite is the Cheese Club. They import fancy cheese from around the world and then they eat it, and that is their club. So a lot of flexibility there with how you want to spend your time outside of academics. In terms of pursuing careers and everything like that afterwards, most Brandeis students will graduate with 2 to 3 internships. And 94% of our class of 2020, within 6 months of graduation, were employed or in graduate school, medical school, or law school, or doing Peace Corps, AmeriCorps service types of programs. The Career Center is with you for life. So myself, as a Brandeis alum, I can go back to the Career Center when I'm 60 years old and want to change my career. I can utilize their resources, and they report that a number of alumni are committed to helping our undergrads and recent graduates pursue internships and careers. In terms of the application process, we are a holistic institution like many of the other institutions here. We are test optional and have been for a number of years. We didn't have to adjust anything this year. And Brandeis agrees to meet your full demonstrated need based on a review of the FAFSA and CSS profile. So if you're admitted and your family can afford to pay X amount of money, Brandeis agrees to meet the rest of that cost. We also offer merit scholarships across all students, and all you have to do is apply to Brandeis to be considered for those. So if you're looking for a community that's social justice driven, a big commitment to undergraduate research, Brandeis might be a great place for you. So with that, thank you so much, and I will be in the chat if you have any other questions.
Excellent, thanks very much. And next up is Hampshire College.
Thank you very much. And okay, excellent. So real quick, my name is Miguel Santiago. I prefer he, him pronouns, and I'm the Director of Admissions for Hampshire College. I've worked with Hampshire College for about 6 years on and off, and I'm very happy and excited to speak with you all about some of the great opportunities that Hampshire offers. Like many of the institutions on this panel, we are a small liberal arts college, and we are definitely devoted towards a very student-driven learning process. I will say, if there's anything that you take away, my apologies, if there's anything that you take away from the Hampshire experience from today, I'd say there are 3 big key aspects. The first 2 I'm going to go through, and then I'll make sure to close out the session with our last one. But the divisional system and the narrative evaluations in particular are really key to Hampshire's experience. If you remember anything about Hampshire, understand that it's not so much a matter of what it is that you're trying to study, but more so how it is you learn and what styles of learning, what spaces of learning are most conducive to you and your passions. One of the unique things, and I had mentioned the divisional system is quite unique because in Hampshire, we don't have typical majors, pre-designed majors. As a matter of fact, every single student who comes to Hampshire actually designs their own program of study. They can pull from multiple different disciplines and different areas of academic study across campus. And they can decide to learn across a number of different mediums, whether that's classroom discussions or survey-based courses, or if they're really interested in more hands-on learning experiential opportunities. And that includes everything from internships, research assistantships, field study opportunities, study abroad, study away, global education opportunities, and so forth. The first year of Hampshire's experience is actually great and known as Division 1. And it's great because it actually gives students an opportunity to explore a little bit before they start to really hone in on what it is specifically they want to develop their program of study around. So you're taking survey courses, you're taking elective courses, and you are part of a seminar group in which you're kind of growing with the students. So all of y'all are experiencing Hampshire and learning about the great opportunities and resources, but you don't have that pressure of trying to figure out, okay, what exactly do I need to be studying? The first year is really devoted towards figuring out those questions because your program of study is going to be based off of your questions primarily. Your Division 2, which is your second and third year, is amazing because then you start to really come into your own and you start to figure out what methods of study you really want to explore. So many of our students are involved in what we call just engaged learning opportunities, and that can range from research assistantships, as I mentioned, field studies, internships, and then the other big resource of Hampshire College, which is the 5-college consortium. Hampshire is actually part of a network of schools, 4 universities right down the street, known as Smith, Amherst, Mount Holyoke College, and UMass Amherst. And we are in a comprehensive network with them where you have the opportunity to take as many courses and any type of course you want at any of the institutions throughout our consortium, along with your Hampshire curriculum. It really opens up learning opportunities, and it really gives you the opportunity to explore other just spaces and environments for learning, and it really enhances the Hampshire experience overall. One of the great things about the Hampshire experience is also how you close it out and how you get ready to begin your next journey of your learning beyond Hampshire and your undergrad experience. Every student finishes out their 4-year experience with something known as the Division III project. It's kind of it's a trademark. It's something that you get to present as your own, and it's your contribution to the canon of knowledge that is out there. Every student has to do some type of presentation, some type of exhibition of their work, whether it's a research paper, whether it's a documentary film. We've had students who write and produce their own plays. We have students who design curriculums and actually introduce them to local school districts and communities. We have students who maybe record a live album and do a live album screening or a listening party for their Div 3. It can range and it can be whatever it wants to be, but it has to be yours and it has to be original. And that really helps students in terms of transitioning beyond Hampshire to maybe more higher ed learning opportunities, such as a master's or PhD program. We are actually in the top 3% of universities in the nation whose alum hold at least one terminal or advanced degree. So, and I mentioned there are 3 particular points of Hampshire College. As I mentioned, the divisional system in which you are building and forming your own education, you're forming your own program of study under the leadership and guidance of a committee of faculty members. So you're not doing this alone, you're doing it with the community, and you're doing it with a number of advisors that you get to pick and work with specifically. The other point, the second point in which I've forgotten to mention is also how we evaluate our students. We are very unique in a sense where we don't have a traditional letter grade system, but rather narrative evaluation. So you receive written feedback from your professors throughout the course, as well as a final evaluation. And the question I always receive is, does this get in the way of grad school opportunities? Not at all. It actually distinguishes your application in many ways. And we send students to the top grad programs across the nation and across the globe. And the third point actually aligns more with our admissions process, and that which makes us very unique. We are a test blind institution. Back in 2014, we had decided to go test blind. Since 1970, when we originally were founded, we're about 50 years old, so we are also a very young institution. We have always been test optional. We decided to take it a step further by offering test blind admissions policy, which means we don't even consider or look at standardized test scores as part of the application process. And those are the main 3 concepts, or the things that distinguish the Hampshire experience. And I'll be in the chat as well if there are any other questions, but we definitely hope that you take a look at us, and looking forward to chatting with anyone.
Excellent, thank you so much. Next up is Hofstra University.
All righty. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Wish we could be here in person, but thankfully with the technology that we've all become very accustomed to, at least we can be with you virtually. My name is Jane, and I'm the person in Hofstra's Office of Admission who works with students from Colorado. And tonight I'm just going to give you a very brief overview of Hofstra. So Hofstra is a medium-sized comprehensive university. We have both undergraduate, graduate, as well as law and medical programs. So meaning our undergraduate population is approximately 6,500 students. We also offer master's and PhD programs, Hofstra's own law school and Hofstra's own medical school. At the undergraduate level, there are approximately 165 different majors, and we'll go into those a little bit more in depth in a moment. Know that when I say we are medium-sized, I always feel like Goldilocks. We're not too big, we're not too small, we're kind of just right there in the middle. One of the hallmarks of a Hofstra education is that you are in very small classes with an average class size of about 21. Classes are capped or maximized at 35, and all classes are taught by faculty members. So we choose not to use teaching assistants or graduate assistants in our classes. And we certainly have students who come from all 50 states at Hofstra, as well as many different countries outside of the US. In terms of our location, Hofstra is located in New York. We are located exactly 25 miles east of New York City. For any of you who are participating today who are in the Denver area, if you think of the distance between downtown Denver and Boulder, Colorado, that is exactly the same distance as Hofstra is to New York City. 25 miles, or many of our students utilize the train to go in and out of New York City. It is the easiest way to do that. And so it's a 40-minute train ride from Hofstra's campus into Penn Station in New York City. Students use the city as an ancillary classroom. Certainly they use it for culture, they use it for fun, they use it for learning opportunities, going to sporting events, all the kinds of things that you would want to explore if you were near and close by to New York City. Certainly the city gets utilized for internship opportunities, and the average student at Hofstra does approximately 2.3 internships. Don't ask me how you can do 0.3 of an internship, but just know that that means you're going to be doing on average between 2 and 3 internships as a Hofstra student. Earlier, when I was talking about majors, I thought I would just throw up this slide so that you can take a peek. It certainly is not meant to give you eye strain, but rather just to give you a visual of the diverse amount of undergraduate programs that Hofstra has to offer. All of our majors fall within various schools or colleges that comprise Hofstra. So for example, we offer an accounting major that happens to be located in the Zarb School of Business, or a journalism major that happens to be in the Herbert School of Communication. You get the idea. Even with 165 majors, the most popular by far for entering first-year students is, I don't know yet, I'm not sure, I'm undecided, and at Hofstra, that's A-okay. No shame in that whatsoever. We are very much a residentially based campus community. Approximately 82% of our undergraduate students do choose to live on Hofstra's campus, and housing is guaranteed for all 4 years. Certainly, since Hofstra operates 24/7 and most of our students are here living with us, we want to make sure that there is a good, healthy balance between academics and social, right? Academics and your free time. So we offer about 220 student-run clubs and organizations. Many of the things you may have begun in high school that you decide that you want to continue with, while also branching out and dipping your toes and trying some new and different kinds of things. We offer lots of community service opportunities in the area that we're located. We offer Greek life, and we certainly do offer 21 Division I athletic programs. Our athletic teams are known as the Hofstra Pride. Pride because our 2 mascots are 2 lions, a girl lion named Kate and a boy lion named Willie. Just a quick slide to give you a little bit of information with regard to admission and application deadlines. Hofstra does utilize the common application as well as our own application. Similar to my colleagues who have gone prior, Hofstra is and has been a test optional institution since back in 2014, and we will continue to be for the foreseeable future. We offer 2 early action deadlines, which are non-binding, as well as regular rolling admission. And you can take a peek at the mid-ranges for test scores for students who choose to submit them, feeling that they will enhance their application. The average GPA for admitted students is about a 3.7. I will certainly be dropping my contact information into the chat, but wanted to make sure that I put it up here as well in the event that you wish to take a screenshot or take a quick photo of it, so that way you'll have it. Thanks so very much. It's been my pleasure to be here and share a little bit of information with you about Hofstra.
Great, thank you very much. Next up is Williams College.
Hi everyone, let me get my screen set up here for you. Right. All right, so I'm really excited to be here with you all. My name is Alejandra Moran. I use she, her pronouns. I serve as an assistant director of admission at Williams, and I'm a graduate of the class of 2017 from Williams. I'm originally from New Mexico. I'm from the southwestern region, and I also cover New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, among a few other places. So I'm particularly excited to be speaking with you all. And excited to tell you a little bit about what makes Williams really unique and what differentiates us from other colleges and universities across the US. Williams is a small private liberal arts college that was founded in 1793. We're actually one of the oldest institutions in the country. And we are a small rural school located in the northwestern part of Massachusetts. We are in a town called Williamstown. We're approximately 3 hours from Boston and from New York City. We border Vermont and New York states. And we do have students coming from all over the world, representing 95 different countries and 49 states across the country, all coming from a wide range of places, coming with a very diverse set of perspectives and experiences to really form a tight-knit community on campus, where the faculty, the students, and the staff alike all genuinely care about each other, and where we all strive to create a welcoming space for everyone. So I'll give you just a few seconds to take a look at the slide before we move on to the next one. Great. And Williams is, we are an institution that has tremendous resources academically, financially, and we have an academic culture that really encourages our students to pursue excellence in a collaborative environment rather than being cutthroat. I can attest to that. Being a student there, something that really attracted me to it was the student culture, how intellectually curious everyone was, and also just how nice it felt to be surrounded by students who cared about their academics and who all wanted to really help each other out. We have a nearly open curriculum that gives our students plenty of flexibility and freedom to really shape their academic experience and make it their own. As a liberal arts institution, our core mission is to make sure that our students are prepared and informed citizens of the world. That doesn't mean that you have to study the humanities or just the sciences. You can really explore many different interests that you have, and we want to make sure that you know how to do that, how to write really well, how to communicate really well. And so that's actually precisely why, as part of our curriculum, we just ask that you complete 3 classes in each of our 3 academic divisions by the time that you graduate. Out of 32 that you take at Williams across your 4 years, 3 in each division is really not a whole lot. That is only 9 courses out of 32. And what's really nice about this is that we never force you to take any one class that you don't want to take. So for Division 1 classes that has the arts and the humanities, you can take whatever you want in foreign language and English and music, theater, etc. Division 2 has social sciences like history, political science, anthropology, economics, women's gender and sexuality studies. And Division 3 has math and the natural sciences. So again, as long as you take 3 in each of those, you're all set, but you're not forced to take any one that you don't want to take. Something that comes very nicely with having a lot of resources at Williams is that you have really great access to your professors. So our average class size is 13 students, and our average our student to faculty ratio is 7:1. All of your classes are taught by professors, and these are the experts in their field. All of them have PhDs. You're never taught by a graduate student because we don't really have any. So this is what really fosters that strong connection between students and faculty. Something that is really unique to Williams across the US is that we have what's called the tutorial system. This is modeled after the University of Oxford education system. These are very intimate classes, and at Williams, these are courses of 2 students and 1 professor. We do not force any student to take these tutorials, though they are highly encouraged because you go really in depth into particular topics to make sure that you get great ownership of your work, that you know how to really ground your arguments and evidence. And if you're sitting there thinking, how does a class of only 2 students and 1 professor work? It's that one student will do an independent project 1 week and the other student will deliver a critique. That independent project could be writing an essay, it could be doing an experiment in the lab, it could be doing a music composition piece or a dance choreography. And the other student will basically give you a critique every week along with the professor. So you, again, get really great feedback for your work. Something else that's unique about Williams is that our first-year residential system is set such that you come in with a cohort of 30 to 40 other first-year students, all coming from very different places and backgrounds, and you are mentored by a few junior students. They live with you. They have no disciplinary power, and they're solely there to help you transition into the college, which is really nice because they basically help orient you to the college. In terms of affordability, Williams, again, we have tremendous resources, and many of those go to financial aid packages because we want to make sure that this is an affordable experience for everyone. So on top of meeting 100% of your family's demonstrated need, for every student that is on financial aid, we guarantee that we pay for all of your textbooks and required course materials. That means that as long as you receive financial aid, you do not have to worry about your textbooks, your lab equipment, your art materials, as long as they are required by your classes. And lastly, for the juniors in the crowd, if you're interested in visiting Williams or really just experiencing the college a little bit more, we do have an opportunity for you to apply to our all expenses paid fly-in program called Windows on Williams. This is how I found out about Williams, coming from New Mexico, and I can say that made me fall in love with the college, and that's how I decided that this was the place for me for the next 4 years. I'll drop in my information on the chat, but if you have any questions, happy to take them through the Q&A or in the chat. Thank you all for being here.
Excellent, thank you very much. And next up is Merrimack College.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Christine Carroll. I'm Associate Director of Admission here at Merrimack College, located in North Andover, Massachusetts. So our location, we are sandwiched just in between Boston and Southern New Hampshire. We're about 25 minutes outside of the city. So really great access to Boston, in terms of internship opportunities, in terms of, social activities, but very much that residential campus. And then you can head up north to the mountains, whitewater rafting, hiking. So there's a lot in our area. You can see kind of an aerial shot of our campus. We're very much that residential school. 70% of our student body does live on campus, and we guarantee housing all 4 years. And for those of our students, who are living on campus, we're very much residential in the sense that we're not a suitcase school. Students aren't kind of packing up and heading home on the weekends. So you really get to enjoy that, campus experience. So some quick facts about us: we're about 4,000 undergraduate students and about 1,200 graduate students. In terms of, the makeup of our campus, we have over 100 different academic programs, and we have over 60 different student clubs and activities that you can be a part of. We have a 15-to-1 student faculty ratio, and our average class size is 22. So for students who are looking to come to Merrimack, it very much is that community-based, feeling. You really want to know your fellow students. You want to know your faculty. It's not uncommon for a student to tell me, oh, hey, I just texted my professor because I had a question about the test, or, oh yeah, I'm a freshman and I'm already doing research with my faculty. It really does allow a lot of access for students. We're pretty close, almost split 50-50 between our male-female students. And we were founded as a Catholic Augustinian college. So us and Villanova are actually the only 2 Augustinian schools in the country. It really, sets our mission in service, in being a good global citizen, and being a lifelong learner. Those are kind of the pillars of the Augustinian values. And we were founded in 1947 under the GI Bill for returning World War II veterans. So we are a yellow ribbon school as well. And we offer lots of activities, like I mentioned, over 60 different student clubs and organizations, and Division I athletics as well. In terms of what you can study at Merrimack, so we have 5 different schools on campus, as you can see the breakout here. And for the most part, it's a pretty even split among all of our academic areas. So you're not going to find just one type of academic student. You're going to find students, looking at a variety of different areas. And then you also can study a variety of different areas. So whether that's, science and engineering, and then you want to minor in psychology, or your communication with a double major in management, you can really, again, mix and match. With the exception of nursing, we actually don't admit to particular majors. So it really does allow students to have a lot of variety, and you even don't have to formally declare until the end of your sophomore year. So we understand that that can be a really daunting experience. We have what's called the Discover program for our undeclared students. So really working with you one-on-one to kind of guide you through the major discovery process, figuring out what classes you should be taking, what are your interests, while still staying on track for graduation. One of the ways we work with our students is through our Academic Success Center and a lot of, again, our personalized coaching. So when every freshman comes to campus, or every student comes first to campus, they get 3 advisors. So you get an academic advisor who's going to be a faculty helping you choose classes. You'll get a career advisor. So again, the career conversation really starts first semester of your freshman year. Getting to know your career advisor, what are your interests, what are the kinds of paths out there for you, and even if you're not ready for internships yet, for when that day does come, you'll feel really confident and ready to take that on. And then lastly, you'll get your academic success coach. And this is really a go-to person for you for anything that you might need. So maybe you're struggling in a class and you need to, help finding resources, or you're like, how do I talk to my professor about this? Or what are the hours for the, shuttle? Or, where do I go to, pay a bill? They can really, again, be a great resource for you. So you don't feel like you have to go at it alone. You don't have to be scrambling all over campus to figure out kind of, what do you need? We can really have a centralized person to help you. And then we have our Academic Success Center, which is our centralized location for all of that. So again, really putting students first and student support services at the forefront. I mentioned everyone gets a career advisor. Again, the career advising piece of it is really important to us. These are some of the places where we've had both interns and alumni. So obviously being close to Boston offers a lot in the business sectors, education, biotechnology, but we've had students do internships, all over the country and even abroad. We've had students go out to NASA, out to Silicon Valley, out to Nike, Puma, so a lot of really cool places. And again, that conversation around career and prep is an early and often conversation because we, again, want you to feel really prepared in figuring out what that next step is for you. In terms of, the application process at Merrimack, I know all of you are still far away from this, but just to kind of give you an idea of what ours is like, we are also on the Common Application. We are free to apply, so there is no fee. The things we require will be like your high school transcript, a secondary school report, which comes from your school counselor, and at least 1 letter of recommendation. We do not accept scores either for testing as well as for nursing. So we didn't require test scores for nursing as well. And then we offer a variety of deadlines for you to choose from. So whether that's you're ready to apply sooner rather than later, or you need a little bit of time, there's a lot of options. And in terms of financial aid, we don't have a hard deadline of when you can apply for financial aid either. So we really offer financial aid even throughout the summer for our students who might be filing later. So I'll put my information on the chat, and hopefully if you find yourself in the Boston area, we would love to chat with you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And next up is Marist College.
Great. Hello, everyone. My name is Joe Jackalone, and I'm from Marist College. I'm also a proud Marist graduate, and happy to be presenting you today about my alma mater. Marist is located just north of New York City. We're about 90 minutes north of Manhattan, right along the banks of the Hudson River. And you can literally jump off the campus into the water, although we don't, honestly recommend that for anybody, but students inevitably will do that. We consider ourselves a medium-sized school as well, with just over 5,000 undergraduate students. We have students from all over the United States and the world. 24% of our students come from ethnically or racially diverse backgrounds. We have over 40 different degrees, 15 grad programs, including a doctoral program in physical therapy. We also have 77% of our faculty holding PhDs, like my colleagues here. Our courses are not taught by grad students or teaching assistants. You're learning from people that have the most amount of knowledge in their discipline. And really everything boils down to our mission statement. We're dedicated to helping students develop the intellect, character, and skills required for an enlightened, ethical, and productive lives in the global community of the 21st century. This really is the why about Marist. This is why we have our campus here in New York and in Italy, which I'll talk about in a moment. Anytime we bring on a new program or a new event on campus, everything really has to tie back to this. Your learning objectives in your class, your syllabus, everything must tie back to our mission statement. And if you're sitting there and you're reading this or you're listening to me speak to this, and this sounds like something that fits you, it sounds like something that you can attach yourself to, then Marist might be a good fit for you. Our value statement really comes down to excellence in education, sense of community, and commitment to service. So we were originally founded by the Marist brothers, who were a religious order, and there are probably about 700 Marist schools globally. And we've been a private institution for a long time, but we still carry some of the same traditions and values that those Marist brothers do, including the service to the community. Our community service organization on campus is one of the largest. And the Marist brothers had a saying of doing good work quietly. And that is something that is pervasive throughout the institution at the college. This is our campus. This is our campus green. It's a significant piece of land on our campus. It's where your Marist experience will begin with your orientation. It's where your on-campus experience will end when we host commencement. And we announced that we will be hosting an in-person commencement this year, which is really exciting. I doubt there will be the 10,000 people that normally show up, but there'll be some form of in-person event. We're Division I in athletics. We have 23 Division I teams. There's a lot to get involved in. We have over 80 clubs and organizations. If you're bored at Marist, something is seriously wrong. We're definitely not a suitcase college. Students don't go home on the weekends. There's a lot to do on campus to keep you active. We have beautiful facilities, state-of-the-art facilities. We have historic buildings on campus. The top left is one of the three historic buildings on campus. It's an old hayloft. Our president works in there. He likes to joke that he's probably the only president with a hayloft office, but the aesthetic of the campus is really designed off of the historic buildings of the original land. It really is all about community at Marist, the conversations that you're having on the way to classes, in your classrooms with your professors, your students, and in the dining hall. We have a number of places that you're going to be eating on campus. The top left is our main dining hall. There is an obligatory Harry Potter joke that I'm going to avoid, and there's other places on campus where you can eat. We also work in the community and bring the community on campus. The bottom right is people from Rossi's Deli. Rossi's Deli is one of the top-rated delis in all of New York, according to BuzzFeed, and we've partnered with them to bring them on campus. Just small things like that to make the Marist experience great. This is some of our housing, and don't get too excited. This is for upperclassmen. This wouldn't be for incoming freshmen, but this is something definitely to aspire to. The facilities on the campus are really designed to promote community and to promote engagement with your professors and your peers. This is our Steel Plant Studios, where students that are focused in the arts, fashion design, which is a globally ranked program at Marist, will have their offices here. We have a Marist Emporium, which is a brick and mortar store, which is a retail laboratory on campus used for our merchandising students, but gives them great access. But if you were to ask me to condense the Marist experience into one sentence, it would be this one: the power of a global university with the personal touch of a leading liberal arts college. And we accomplish that in the three ways that you see in the bottom: innovation, exploration, and care. You need to have innovative experience in the classroom. You have to have faculty and students that are focused on innovation. We're partnered with partnered with a presidential library in the area. We are one of 6 institutions in the United States that is officially partnered with a presidential library. Marist poll was the official college-based poll used in the elections this past year. They're an institution of themselves at the college. Our sports communications program brings sports speakers from around the country to work side by side with our students. Our students have opportunities to explore courses, utilize our location in New York City to study abroad. Over half of our students will study abroad. And this is something that is woven into the fabric of the institution. And finally, we have a campus in Florence, Italy, where we have students that will live there for all 4 years and graduate with a Marist degree. Their courses are all taught in English. And they're graduating the same type of degree as I do. And the final piece to our last sentence about being a global university is care. This is a place where people care about you and they want to make sure that you're going to be successful and part of the Marist Alumni Association that exists in 75 different countries worldwide. Some examples of where our students go to work, some examples of where our students go on to grad school. Of course, we have all the rankings as well if we want to go check those out. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks very much. Thank you to all of our presenters. We now have a few minutes for some Q&A, and so I'd invite all of our presenters to come back on camera and respond to this question. What advice would you give someone going through the college search process? And I'll ask that our presenters respond in the same order that they presented.
Sure. So nothing too profound, but I'm sure as you've seen on the list for RMACAC for this college, where there's so many colleges and probably ones you've never heard of before. So my piece of advice is typically to be open-minded, especially as you're beginning this process. There's over 4,000 colleges and universities and community colleges in the United States alone, let alone globally. So maybe there's a major or program that you don't even know you like yet. Maybe you think you're pre-med or pre-health, but you take a class or a program changes your life and suddenly you are a, I don't know, archaeology major or something like that. So there's a lot of opportunities is what I'm trying to say across the United States. And as you begin your process, I would just encourage you to stay as open-minded as possible until you find what you're looking for.
I would follow that by saying I always encourage students to really dig into the student life and the campus community, but also the local communities of the institution. I think a lot of students, of course, are going to be initially driven to find like, all right, where are the academics? Where is it? What institutions offer what I'm trying to study? And that is a good place to start your search, but you'll come to find that many institutions are going to fill that need in terms of getting the academic needs taken care of. But it's really, the real college experience begins with the student life, the relationships and the networks you're going to develop, and also how much you're able to engage with the community beyond the campus. Because if you find yourself just stuck in one place and you feel that that particular community isn't engaging you, then that is going to have an impact on your experience. So I'm always encouraging students to research just beyond the walls of the institution or just beyond the curriculum, for sure.
I think I would say spend some time with yourself. Spend some time reflecting, thinking about what's going to be important to you, what your needs are, what are the things that you are looking most forward to doing in college and being while you're in college, and then match those ideals up with some of the pillars or hallmarks of the various colleges or universities that interest you the most. In addition to spending some time solo reflecting, I think also my second piece of advice would be utilize your college counselor. They are a wonderful resource, a wealth of knowledge, and they are someone who certainly can assist you, support you, and guide you through what we realize sometimes can be a stressful and anxiety-producing process.
Yeah, and to build on Jane's point, I would really like to emphasize actually the spending time with yourself, but really asking yourself those questions. Do I thrive in a small classroom environment? Do I thrive in a big university where I want to meet someone new all the time? Do I want to become a leader on campus? Do I want to be another member? I think that that's a really important question. And also to the point of using your counselors, also use us as admissions professionals. We are here because we really want to answer your questions. We love talking about our colleges, and we really want to make sure that, you know, the information that we give you will help inform that decision for you. We know that our colleges are not going to be for everyone, but if there's a question that you have, please do advocate for yourself and ask us those questions. Don't be shy. We promise we're not mean people. We really want to help you out through this process. So please shoot us an email if you can't find an answer online, or if we can put you in contact with someone within our colleges.
Yeah, I think my piece of advice is going to be easier said than done, and that is going to be to try to breathe through this process. I know, especially this past year has been terribly difficult, and hopefully you're all going to be moving into a much more, exciting and much happier senior year. And the college process can be kind of stressful and to everyone's point, anxiety ridden, regardless of when you're doing this. But you don't want it to completely overshadow, the exciting year that you have ahead of you, whether it be activities, sports, clubs, just seeing friends again, being able to, hopefully jump back into all the activities that have been missing for this past year. And so it's important to, take this process seriously and really kind of, really be a part of it, but don't let it be so stress inducing that it ruins, ruins this experience. This should be a really exciting time for you. This is a milestone part of your life. And you want to also enjoy the college search process. Doesn't mean it's always going to be easy or be stress-free. But I think if you keep that mindset that you will find your place, you will ultimately end up where you need to be, and just try to enjoy the rest of it. And I think if you have that mindset, it will hopefully take a little bit of put a little bit of ease on and take a little bit off of the stress that this kind of process can have.
To round this all out, the educational process really starts now in the reflection, and everyone has said some really great things. As long as I think the best thing to keep in mind is that if you are thinking deeply, as my colleagues has recommended that you do, by the time you get to the point where you're deciding where to go, you should feel pretty confident about where you are, which means that starting this process now means that you're going to end up in a good place by the time it's time to choose. And just on an aside, every college is going to put all their best pictures on the website, their best videos out. So follow them on Instagram and TikTok and follow students in those schools to get a sense of what the student body is like as well.
Great. Thank you all so much. That concludes our session. So I want to say thank you for joining us. When you close this window, there will be a link to a quick 4-question survey, and we do appreciate your feedback. Just a reminder that this is one of many sessions being hosted as part of this college fair, so do sign up for more. And in about a week, you'll be able to find the recording from this session at strivescan.com/RMACAC. Thank you all so much and have a great evening.